Welcome, good evening, wherever you are, especially those of you here in the United States. Welcome to the broadcast. Of course, this is Focus on Liberia. And of course, this is the Hour of Politics. And I am your usual host, Anthony Sier. Welcome to our broadcast. In today's edition, it's going to be very, very interesting. I will ask you to stay with me as I go into my very exciting topic here. It seems to be I'm going to be stepping on some toes today. I might be shaking some tables as well. And so, for those of you who like to see tables shaking, this is where you want to be here at the Hour of Politics with me, Anthony C., your host. And for those of you who like for others to step on people's toes, you also want to be here as we go into this edition of the Hour of Politics here, a focus on Liberia. We are behind schedule, and so we will ask you to help us so quickly by hitting that share button and allow others to join the conversation here, focus on Liberia. Very interesting topic today. ANC and Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings and the CPP are feeling the political heat, and I am here to add my own. But my goal here is to see how best we can provide constructive analysis so that as we leave from here today, we will get a much more deeper understanding on the issue. If we will be disagreeing on the issue, I mean, it's okay, and we can disagree further. But I will do my best to make sure that as I go into this topic and provide my critical analysis, we will be reaching some form of understanding that this might be bad, this might be good, or this might be a situation that can be resolved. And I have a lot of options as recommendation at the end of this conversation. And so, folks, let's get started here. The topic where the ANC got it all wrong. And when I say ANC, I'm not leaving anybody out. ANC as a political party, the political leader of ANC, Mr. Alexander Belende Cummings. And of course, I am not leaving the CPP out, where they also got it wrong. And so, folks, let's get started. Since we are talking about the ANC slash the CPP, it is important for us to start with the ANC as a political party because the noise is on the ANC. The ANC is the one everybody is pointing their accusing fingers at that they have been giving in too much, and so it is contributing to this entire trouble that they are having politically. And so let's get started. Here I focus on Liberia. Anytime we have a topic, we try to give it a holistic look. So let's look at history of ANC. Many of you may not know some specific details about the ANC information and how Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings came to the picture and how he has been, steering the affairs of that political entity. And so I will do my best based on my research to give you some information that will help us to get a better understanding of the journey of the ANC coming to Alexander Cummings and looking at its political path, whether the journey ahead will be fruitful or not. It depends on the decisions that ANC will be making and also Alexander Benedict Cummings will be making. But we will not get to know all that very well if we do not know the ANC and its history, especially with Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings. So fast forward, the ANC came out of the CDC. Individuals within the CDC were not happy about the CDC at the time Specifically from my research, it all started after the 2011 presidential elections. There were some people in the CDC that were seen as so powerful and so in charge of the CDC as a political party, and other individuals in the party felt somehow that they were being, uh, placed on the sidelines, and they wanted to be able to be on the table to make the political decisions, to be calling the shots. And it can not be told this story about the ANC formation without bringing in some key individuals who, at the formation of the ANC, were instrumental or played roles that led to the ANC coming out of the CDC. During that time, based on my research, a gentleman called George Solo was the chairman at the time who took the CDC to the 2011 presidential elections. Uh, the decision as to who should be the head of the ticket was of a huge contentious at the time. But fast forward, we understand that George Solo was a radical in the CDC, and he helped to form what they call or is known today as the Sabu unit of the CDC. That Sabu unit was headed by our current major Jefferson Tamakoji. All right, and Koji, from my research, he was very ruthless individual who could do anything, as he commanded the Sabu unit at the time in the CDC. And the Sabu unit, for your information, was more like, an arm of the CDC that were responsible for security. But those boys, it seems to be that power had entered their heads at the time. And so they were doing some things that were very embarrassing to the CDC, and also bringing some embarrassment to the CDC, and so many other people were not happy with that. Now, the bigger picture is that Winston Thomas coming to the picture, there was serious disagreement. Some people wanted that, some people did not want that. And some people wanted to be part of the decision making, but that was not the case. But fast forward, we can report to you that people like Chief Bodo Wilson, Gerald D. Doe Sheriff, Mr. Macaulay Ware, Harim Pedro Costa, these were individuals who at some point were with the CDC, and because of some dissatisfaction with the political decisions that were taking place in the CDC at the time, decided to part way with the CDC and funded the ANC. And the ANC, when it was funded, our understanding is that the funding chairman was Orisha Good. And fast forward, Kwame Clement was quote unquote more like the political leader or the de facto political leader at the time. Our understanding is that Orisha Good was the one through whom Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings got to the ANC, coming close to the 2017 presidential election. I think that was somewhere around 2016 when Mr. Cummings expressed interest to participate in the general and presidential elections at the time. When fast forward, Mr. Cummings made his way to the ANC, and he became a member. And in no time, some way, somehow, whatever went on there, we can say politics, took place, and Mr. Cummings successfully became the standard bearer of the ANC at the time. And so since then, Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings has been the political leader, as it is now known, in Liberia. So, but since Mr. Cummings got there, what has been his contribution? What has been his decision? That is the juicy part you want to hear. What has been his decision? Because the history of his decision making, that's the history we will look at, and then look at a pattern, and then we can be able to tell that whether Mr. Cummings has been able to be making or good judgment when it comes to political decision making, because that is the major thing critics of Mr. Alexander Cummings have against him. That when it comes to political decision making, he is not tough, and that he makes too much of sacrifices. So let's look at a little history. So Cummings, when he expressed interest to contest, we saw friends of Cummings uh, came into being, and the understanding was that when the friends of Cummings came to being, understanding was that Cummings would have moved these people to the ANC, but at some point it was more like the friends of Alexander Benedict Cummings were now more in, they were not in the ANC at the time. And then fast forward, the Cummings Global is another institution we understand is more like an organization that is business oriented, but we know that that group supports Alexander Benedict Cummings. Our understanding is that it's more like a foundation, but from all indication, this group has been supporting the political aspiration of Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings. So you see right there that we have three groupings. The ANC, which is the political party that Mr. Alexander Cummings had joined and then managed to become head as that political institution. And then the ANC Global has been another institution too that, though somehow in nature a little different, but, has been supporting the political aspiration of Mr. Alexander Cummings. And the same can be said about friends of Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings. Now, critics are saying that one of the mistakes that Mr. Cummings did make, and that is their criticism of Mr. Cummings, is your judgment to evaluate that to see whether that is post judgment on his part. So Mr. Cummings could not uh, have a political unit, meaning that instead of having ANC and members of these other groupings, the Friends of Cummings, the forming Cummings or Global, these people for some reason could not feel comfortable joining the ANC to become members, so as you will have a single political unit that is supporting the presidential ambition of Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings. Now, let's be realistic here. Those groups, let's establish that it is their right to decide, to remain neutral. An individual may not necessarily have to be in politics or to support an individual. All right, so we see institutions that support people based on their ideology and their philosophies. They can support a particular candidate. They don't have to be in the political process. But the thing is that is the criticism many people have had against Mr. Alexander Cummings. And this is what the thing, because Mr. Alexander Cummings has this attachment with all these groupings, the Cummings Global, Friends of Cummings, and the ANC. He's being pulled here and there. So it's more like he found himself between three different institutions and he has to be talking with them. And they all try to exert influence on him towards his political direction. And so there started to be some level of confusion and disagreement because some people felt that Mr. Alexander Cummings needed to be this person, he needed to walk this way, whereas the Cummings Global is saying something else, or maybe similarly, but from a different angle. And the political party that Cummings had joined felt that, look, this is politics. And we, the political guys, should be the one deciding which way to go, how to make decisions. But we see that there are some influences coming from the Friends of Cummings, the Cummings Global, and so that clash started coming in the picture. And so Cummings as an individual now started trying to navigate and walk a fine line between, between or among these three groups. And don't forget too, the other component that we want to bring is that the political party that Mr. Alexander Cummings joined, Mr. Alexander Cummings joined the political party just about the time elections, the general presidential election was just around the corner. That was when he joined the political party. And this political party, the leaders there, have made it clear that they were established. Mr. Cummings had joined, and Mr. Cummings wanted to run as a presidential candidate, and the only way to have done so was to at least join a political party or form one. But he decided to join this political party that claimed to have had some structures in place. So Mr. Cummings did not have the grasp of things administratively as to how the political party was running at the time. So he didn't have much control. His interest at the time and his goal at the time was to get on the ticket of that political party in order to be able to contest in that presidential election. That was his focus. And to his credit, he succeeded in doing that. Now, how he did it, because Mr. Alexander Cummings, some people believe he has bigger pockets. People claim that he may have, spent some money to have made his way at the top of the ticket. But hey, in politics, these things happen. But that is another piece of cake there for you. And Mr. Alexander Cummings since then has been on this political journey to the Liberian presidency. So that was the first struggle Mr. Alexander Cummings had to deal with. And then fast forward the elections. And then Mr. Alexander Cummings, there are some people that believe that Cummings, for his first time, somebody who was new on the political block at the time, to have won significant amount of votes. Some people, have given him so much credit. This man got in there less than a year to elections, and he did pretty much, for a first-time participant, and he did so much better than 90% of those who participated into the election. So some people felt that that was an opportunity. That was a huge achievement, even though he fell so short of getting the presidency. But for a first-time contender to have reached that level that he did reach, he needed to build on it to solidify his base, move in the communities and in the counties, build a grassroots movement with the political capital that he had gained from the election. And by now, he would be in a much better position. But instead of that, Mr. Alexander Cummings started looking at the idea of a collaboration. So let's talk collaboration a little bit. Let's talk collaboration a little bit. Now, let me show you an image here. The image that you are looking at right now, somewhere around the 2017 elections, there was the idea of a collaboration, and we all knew not a single party could have won the elections, in the first round. But they all went individually in the elections. And then when there was a rerun, people decided that, hey, the only way we can make this thing happen is to decide that we form some form of collaboration. And so you can see there in the picture, there is the late Charles Walker Bronsky, our now current president, George Manawia, Mr. Alexander Cummings, there in the picture. And then you have Benny now Wilfred Uren, I think they call him. And then in the column there, the man with the sun, the glasses there is Prince Johnson. So Mr. Alexander Cummings, folks, look at that picture. Think about the individuals that Mr. Cummings decided to form a political partnership with. After it was clear that Mr. Cummings was not going into the second round. Mr. Cummings was not in the second round. But Mr. Cummings decided, for some reason, to form this collaboration with these political figures at the time. So there is Mr. Cummings there with George Weah, Benny Nayure, and of all person, Prince Yomi Johnson. Now, that brings me to Mr. Cummings' favorite saying, that we can't be doing the same thing over and over and expect different results. I like that saying. I like when Mr. Cummings says that. I like it. That is good. But when you say that, you must live it. And it starts with individuals that you associate yourself with. So first of all, you went into the first round. You did not secure second place to have given you the opportunity to be in a runoff. So you had no fish to fry in whatever happens. He had no fish to fry. So for him to have made this decision to join ranks with George Weah at the time, Benny Ure, Prince Johnson, and you're talking about Mr. Charles Walker Bronsky. What was Cummings looking for? What was Mr. Cummings looking for? What was his goal here? Now, some political observers are saying that was one of the major beginnings of Mr. Alexander Cummings trying to kind of, sprinkle a little dent on his corporate resume, or if you like, his political resume that he has started building, or his political profile that he has started building. Prince Johnson, of all people, you felt that you needed this man. Why you think you needed Prince Johnson? You did not need Prince Johnson because you were not in the second round in the first place. For you to have secured substantial amount of votes, your first time, 1 year to election time, I would have advised Mr. Cummings, have no business with the second round. But he was seen holding hands with these political players that have been around. Some of them with not too much of a good character, like Prince Yomi Johnson, an individual who we know to be a cold-blooded murderer during our vicious civil war. For Mr. Cummings to have, uh, entertained the idea that he would be in any form of political enrichment or collaboration or partnership of any sort with such a character, first undermine Mr. Cummings saying that we cannot be doing the same thing over and over and expect to get different results. When you believe in something, when you stand for principles, stand on those principles. Because the fact is that Mr. Alexander Cummings is one of those Liberians who is blessed, well blessed, that though he wants to contribute to his country at the level of the presidency, something that it is his right, absolutely, and his deeper understanding that the only way you can contribute meaningfully to your country or to our country is by capturing the presidency. I believe that. I definitely believe that. If you are not president in Liberia, you can do something. But there's not much you can do when you are not a president. And there is so much you can do when you are the president. And after all, it's his right. He earns that right as a Liberian. And so the thing is that the fact that you stand for principle, you want to navigate through a clear and perfect path, if not perfect, but a better path that will depart from all other political paths that others have traveled. You must live your own words. You must not only talk the talk, you must be able to walk that talk. That is what you are expected to do. Again, I love that saying that we cannot keep doing the same thing over and over and expect a different result. But hey, I am not naive. Politics calls for consensus building. Politics calls for compromises. But who are you building consensus with? On what basis are you making the compromises? Are you making the compromises and then slaughtering your own principles and values on the political table, and you think by doing so represent anything that is of a significant departure from the old ways or usual way of doing political business? That is the question I do have for Mr. Cummings and the ANC. Did Mr. Cummings exhibit that a clear-cut departure from business as usual, it starts with your political association? He didn't do that. So let me leave you with this history. Let me now bore you with this history, because I do not know all the facts about the history. But what I know is an impeccable and sensible understanding of the political path of Mr. Cummings. He came from the corporate world. He has an impeccable corporate profile. That corporate profile, that which he brought to the political play, he came from a field that is result oriented. And so my assumption and everybody's conclusion or deeper understanding that Mr. Cummings was coming with that results driven orientation, clean slate, integrity. Earlier, I played a video of Mr. Alexander Cummings' campaign song. And there was another video that I played also that listed the 60 things that make who Mr. Alexander Cummings is, what Mr. Alexander Cummings did. 60 different things. And among those things, if you were able to follow the video attentively like I did, integrity was one of the things that was mentioned. No, if you are known to be a person of integrity, then you must walk integrity and walk with integrity, associate with individuals with integrity. The thing about politics that I like is that people may be naive to feel that they are powerful. Yes, they get powerful when the power is given to them. But we need to be reminded about who gives that power. We need to be reminded about who gives that power. That power is given by the people. Mr. Alexander Cummings, his first attempt in the political theater, he managed to capture significant votes at amount of votes that even Dr. Tuba Nantipote could not even get for the multiple times he did try. Even Boyman Formula could not get the number of votes. The progressive could not get those amount of votes that Mr. Alexander Cummings got. I wonder whether Mr. Cummings understood that significant milestone that he achieved. In business, the fact that this man came from the business world, I'm not a business guy, but I work for all your profitability. That's what I see people doing in corporate America. So the significant amount of votes that Mr. Cummings got, if he had decided to use his business IQ, he would have looked at himself and said, what? My first business politically, I achieved votes far more than the likes of Tipote and other progressives that have been in the political scene for long. With the short-term investment I made, that means that if I do make further investment, I might yield my desired results. That should have been Mr. Cummings' approach. Remember earlier, I just told you who gives power, and I said the giver of power, that's the people. So Mr. Cummings should have gone to the people. Why you think when a business uh, produces a new product, where you think they go? They go to the people. And how do they get to the people? They use individuals like celebrities, individuals with good record, impeccable popularity. You will see Percy will want to talk to Messi. He has popularity. It is not just any other popularity. His popularity is impeccable. He has integrity as an icon in football. So Percy will go because through him they will get to many people. Percy will never ask a Donald Trump to do their advertisement. Percy will never ask a scripper to do its advertisement. No, Percy will never do that. And what I'm saying here is that Mr. Cummings had no reason whatsoever to use people with questionable character from the get-go to market his political product. There where he missed it. There where he got it wrong. Now, the thing is, did Mr. Alexander Cummings double down? Or did he continue on the same path of associating himself with individuals that have little or no credibility? Now, let me speak to unity a little bit. One of the key abilities, one of the key abilities of any leader is the ability to unite, the ability to build unity within your ranks and file. How did Mr. Alexander Cummings do in the ANC? Where is Kwame Clement? Where are the guys who started the ANC? I don't know the facts, but we don't see these people. Mr. Alexander Cummings affixed his signature to a CPP document that talks about in order to be considered for anything in the CPP, you must be active and you must be visible. Did Mr. Alexander Cummings forget that? Why are the founders of ANC, those who helped to charter the birth of this party, where are they? Many people make that mistake. Mr. Alexander Cummings is of no exception. Well, somebody may say people can decide to leave. You have to find out the reason why they are leaving or the reason why they left. Is it possible that you can bring them back? Because you want to keep the individuals who are the progenitors of that institution. There is something they have that you need. But let's make progress. So, before Alexander Cummings joining the CDC, I explained to you where he came from. I mean, the ANC, sorry, before joining the ANC. I told you where he came from, and he has been in the ANC. I'm not sure if the ANC is that united. I had the opportunity to have, been invited to one of their events. And what I saw was clear that there is or has not been any unity in the ANC, and the same can be said about every political party. And this is not to say that Mr. Cummings was responsible for that, or that this is not common in any political institution, and it happens in family, and there will always be disagreement. But I'm saying, what do you do with that disagreement? The party has been divided for so long. What did Mr. Alexander Cummings do? Has he been able to unify the ANC? What is the relationship of ANC USA with ANC Liberia? How do they view each other? What is the relationship between ANC as a political party and ANC or global and friends of ANC? How do they see each other? Are they friendly to each other? Do they accept each other? I want to know whether the ANC global folks are feeling that they are better, or they know it all, or they contribute more, or that they have a bigger stake. And what is Mr. Alexander Cummings understanding and belief? Because that is a reality that exists. Yes, you have ANC global. They have thoughts, they have beliefs, they have their views, they have their understanding. So then you come to ANC Liberia and ANC USA. What's the relationship? How rooted is the ANC in Liberia and in the counties? Well, let me not bore you too much with the history. Let me come to the meat that you have been waiting for. The media is that there are scattered ANC groupings, and I see a lack of interest in recruitment in the ANC. That is fundamental to the growth of ANC. That is one of the things ANC as an institution and Mr. Alexander Cummings as a leader should have been given the strongest attention. The fact that we can say you did well, you got that Delaware trophy, you should have moved into the counties with serious recruitment efforts. By this time, establish stronger cells in the county, establish great leaderships in the countries, focus your energy in the counties, and don't focus too much with the ANC USA and the ANC the ANC USA and the ANC Global. Don't focus too much on them. Because at the end of the day, Liberia decides whether or not Alexander Cummings becomes president. Liberia decides. Liberians in Liberia decide. Whoa. Are we not of the understanding that Mr. Cummings has the bigger pocket? If he has the bigger pocket, unfortunately, politics in Liberia is that so. If you are the political leader, you got to show the money. And the fact that he has this money, I'm not saying he man should go about wasting his money, that he should not bring people in the fold, but the fact that Liberians in Liberia decide whether or not Mr. Cummings becomes president, and the fact that those Liberians don't have money to contribute financially, Mr. Cummings' focus should be on those Liberians. Massive recruitment efforts. Let me give you a little piece of banana here. The video I show you that has Mr. Cummings 60 achievements. That video has been on YouTube. Let me look at my notes here. That video was uploaded September 12th or 2017. Today is September 22nd. It's been 3 years now since that video been on YouTube. Guess how many views? That video has just 2,244 views. This is significant. This is very significant. That video captured who Mr. Alexander Cummings is, the meat he brings to the political play is in that video. That video been on YouTube for this long, but it has less than 3,000 views. Where are the ANCers or the people in the ANC? How well have they been able to sell Mr. Alexander Cummings to voters, to Liberians? How well? If they have been able to do their job, I am not a member of the ANC, but I said this to you. Let me give you an analogy, or let me do a comparative analysis so you will understand this better. Joshua, besides Joshua being football icon, I can say it to anybody for free. Joshua had nothing going for him. I repeat, hello, besides Joshua being football icon, a man who mesmerized the world with his talents in the game of football, he had nothing else going for him. Unlike Cummings, he has a lot of things, or he got a lot of things. Look at the profile of Alexander Cummings in terms of administration, in terms of working experience, and compare that with non-president we are before the presidency. I repeat, look at Alexander Cummings' resume in terms of leadership and experience before the presidency and compare that with Joshua before the presidency. Joshua has nothing. But seditions sold Joshua to Liberians. Some of you might not want to like this. They sold Joshua to Liberia effectively in a way they knew best. They told all the lies. They make the man to look like a shiny object. That's what CDC did. They knew we could not go to any debate. They said debate was not important. They even told us that education was never important. They gave all the excuses. They justify everywhere possible. Every way possible. And they sold we are to the Liberian people. And the Liberian people bought Joshua. Manius, we are impeccable soccer achievement. He had nothing going for him administratively. In terms of experience, in leadership, he has nothing. And yet CDC saw him as this shining piece of object, that he was this magic wine. They did. ANC with all the potentials. ANCers with all the potential in the USA can't even sell Mr. Alexander Cummings. And they got this man more than navigating his way. I am on the ANC today. I'm going to shake your table. They will put on beautiful programs in Houston, Texas. One of the most recent ones. And you see how colorful that was. Look, folks, I'm not saying you can gather as a people and try to do something, be a fundraiser. But that is not the deal. You miss it. You got it wrong. Imagine you taking such an event to Maryland County. Look, one of the things Mr. Cummings has not been able to do, folks. Look, I'm here to shake table today, and the table I'm shaking is analytical. It is not the kind of shaking table you insulting people. No, we don't do it here. Focus on Liberia, because our goal here is to educate, to elevate, and promote the discourse and all things Liberia. What is Mr. Alexander Cummings standing in his own county of Maryland? Think about it. What is Mr. Alexander Cummings standing in Maryland County? Mr. Alexander Cummings is not rooted in his own county. Now, somebody may counter and say, hey, see, Georgia was never rooted in his county. I agree, I'm from Grand Crew. And by the way, I always say this here, Joshua and myself from the same town, the town of Sastan. Georgia never visited. I don't remember if he did. But Joshua was never rooted. No, not before the campaign. And yet he won. It worked for him. The question is, will that work for Cummings? Was that a good strategy for Weah? It did work. But the thing is that Weah contested in 2005. It was believed that he won and was cheated and that the election was stage managed. Many people have believed it, thereby ending him that political sympathy that he managed to turn into a political dividend. That's what Mr. Cummings should have done, though he was not cheated. But the fact that he fell short, if he had gone home and started building and connecting himself with his people and getting his people blessing and focusing on building his party and recruitment in the counties, Mr. Cummings will not be in the midst of these political old players and trying to see how best he can align himself with these guys who continue to play him in this I'm bold to say so-called collaborating political parties. He would not have to be doing this. But because he did not calculate well, because he will focus on how do you get numbers, he will focus on this major thing and all that. When you go into a major, if you don't have that much political capital, people will dismiss you. People will overlook you. And that is the case of Mr. Alexander Cummings. Though Ure does not have that much political capital in terms of number, but he been around the terrain. And so he is using that experience as a trump card to dismiss Mr. Alexander Cummings' strength politically. And the same can be said about the Liberty Party. We say, well, we've been around. You're just coming into this game. If Cummings had gone to the people, has built his political party, forget about these people. If they have seen or if he has been able to show that, look, I have numbers, I have the people behind me, I'm doing things in the country, raising his political profile and his political standing with the people, they will be calling him. They will be calling him. Let me give you that example. CDC saw him. He was this good guy. You know, he was the son of the soil. He was blameless politically. He had no hand in the war. He was the best person. And they saw him to the Liberian people. And so when he gained that a kind of political standing in the Liberian political process, though he had nothing going for him in terms of experience and leadership, these people were going to Weah. Bronskin went to Weah. He won at Weah. And that is how Winston Thomas landed Weah in 2011. So if Cummings had built a political movement by recruiting massively and establishing strong political standing in all the counties, the fact that he has some money, these guys will be going to him. And now he will have that authority to decide which way things should go. It's not that there are not a lot of good people that Mr. Cummings can build consensus with. I believe some people will agree with me. Larry Toba is a good man. I don't know him personally, but publicly, he's a good man. And what's his name? The Liberian scientist, Chris Dubayan. He has political interest. I think he's with the NDC or something. Build political consensus with these people who don't have this ugly political record. And forget about these people who are tainted. They may, and I think I agree, they have some following, but these are people at the end of the day will bring themselves on board. And then you will be able to have control. That is how Mr. Cummings, this is how, folks in the ANC, this is how you gain control of the political narrative. You don't subject and align yourself with the political vampires when you are yet to get rooted and increase your political standing and capital. When they are yet to get convinced that politically you are strong and you have a huge following, and the fact that they don't see that about you, when you go to them, they will want you to succumb. And so let us come to why the ANC and Mr. Alexander Cummings have been succumbing to the URAs and the other parties in the collaboration. And so because Mr. Alexander Cummings did not do all of the things I have laid out, he did not improve his political resume, his political profile, his political standing with the Liberian people in the county. He did not play emphasis on recruitment. He did not grow the ANC in the counties. He has been paying attention to my friends in the ANC who are only on Facebook and just talking here and there, who don't even go to Liberia, enjoy the comfort of the US like I do. Because he has been paying a little more attention to those people, he fell short of paying more attention to the people in Liberia. And so his political capital is minuscule. And so when you really look at Cummings, this guy is Johnny just come, man, we can play him. They don't fear him. They don't see anything going for him. Because he did not fight, he did not do enough, he did not build on the little he gained in a relative short time. He did not build on it. And so I come to the ANCers. Let me send you back to that video. The 60 things about Alexander Cummings, the video I'm talking about. Less than 3,000 views. That video, this is a free advice to ANC or those who support Mr. Alexander Cummings. Your respect in the collaboration will start with how you establish yourself politically. The amount of people that will follow your institution, how strong your party is, how many Liberians are in the ANC will decide that. If you were serious about promoting this candidate, I told you, they may have so much that you can sell for him to win, but you are not doing that. You are involving into noise, useless noise for that matter, that will amount to absolutely nothing. And that's why you waste your time on. The ANC potential is impeccable, but you don't see it. You waste your time on noise. Use the resources you have. Use your potential. Place emphasis on recruitment in the counties. That should be your primary goal. Forget about these guys. When these guys see Mr. Cummings going from county to county with huge following, they will bring themselves aboard. And that's what they always do. That is what they always do. Why you think political plenty chill man Jabata will carry himself to CDC? Because he sees opportunity there. He thinks there is some kind of imaginary gravy. But he learned his lesson so quick. I'm not saying the CDC is that strong. It was strong. But when you control power, you are strong, people. They control the government machinery. And so, the likes of Jabate, Chris Monsele, Dignon, Greeted, Carlos, and spineless, no relevance, looking for something, will carry themselves to the CDC. It is their right, I must emphasize. But when you do that at your own peril, because you are short-sighted, you will live with that consequence politically for a long time. But the point I was making is why you think they did that? Because they saw something. They saw that shiny object. CDC fooled them with that little shiny object. I'm not saying Elizana Cummings to do that, but if you can show people something, numbers, structures, standing, political numbers, political establishment, you do things in the county and selling your candidate. Your candidate got so much. There's a lot that Cummings has done from my research. A lot of things he's done. The videos are on YouTube. ANC people, I don't see you talking about these things. You're wasting your time on noise instead of selling your candidate. Sell your candidate. ANC, free advice for you. Let me go after my good friend, Emre Nico. Today, I'm shaking tables. Focus on Liberia is shaking tables responsibly. This is Focus on Liberia, folks. I'm Anthony here, and I'm shaking tables here. But let me leave my friend Nico. We are so good. But my advice to all my friends in the ANC, stop the noise. Stop wasting your time. Liberia political noise will continue. The best noise to make is to sell your candidate. Bring the people. Let the people make the noise for your candidate. That is the kind of noise that wins. That's the noise. CDC, you the boys, cause noise. Oh, where is the man? He's this, he's that. And they cause that noise until the people bought it. That is what ANCers, ANC, Mr. Cummings should do. Don't worry about this collaboration. See how you continue to sacrifice. So let's talk about sacrifices the ANC have been making in this political journey. And because of all the things that I have laid out, ANC and Mr. Alexander Cummings did not do those things. They decided picking the low-hanging fruits. Oh, okay. Unity Party? I'm not a fan. My Peking George Lobo can blow their horn all day. I'm not a fan. And yes, why? The Unity Party received significant money through our aid administration. It's like it received 100% funding as a government. And they just 10% for Liberia. Squander 90%. Joseph Boakai can attest to that when he said we squandered a lot of opportunities. So don't take my words for it. We will use their own words to hold them accountable. Ellen said the educational system was a mess. Despite all the funding that she got. Those were her words. Corruption was going to be enemy number one. In less than 2 years, she described it as a vampire. So you want to convince me, people in the Unity Party, that you did everything that you could have done with the massive opportunity that you had coming your way? Hello, folks in the UP. And so for Mr. Cummings to now have gone to the Liberian people to work with them, to explain himself to them, for ANC not to go to the Liberian people and sell their candidate, the person they believe in that they support, for them to now have done that, to have made the calculation that with Unity Party they will have everything going for them, that is a monumental mistake and they are paying the price for it. I share no sympathy. I share no sympathy for the ANC. Unite your party, recruit, sell your candidate to the Liberian people. Liberian people are hungry. They are looking for alternative. Our current government is indeed a disappointment. I said that with no hesitation. And you think the Unity Party that failed yesterday, in Bwaka own words, had to squander opportunities. In LA own words, corruption was a vampire after she said I'm going to be enemy number one. Education system was a mess. Don't get me started. I'm not going to be carried away by, the projects that they did. It was not a favor for the Liberian people. You used the Liberian people money anyway. You came to us and you said you wanted us to make you president. And the people did. And the social contract required that you do well by the people. That was not a favor. And so for somebody to come and boast of it when in fact you have just 10% achievement out of 100% budgetary support, and you want to come and make noise and tell me about hospital and tell me about roads, those are the responsibility of any government. So don't come and lecture me here about achievement. The greatest achievement of all that any government should boast of, training your people, education. What did Ellen say about education? She said it was a mess. That alone, that yardstick alone is significant to prove that the Unity Party was a failure. It was a failure. Don't get me started going after Unity Party with no car and how her son and how that institution got bankrupt. Do not get me started, Unity Party folks. You are in no moral standing. And so for the ANC and Elizana Cummings to have gone into this strange political marriage with these individuals speak volumes of his political decision making. And I will not hesitate to tell him and tell the folks in the ANC. And so when I tell you where the ANC got it all wrong, I think you are getting to agree with me. I'm going to shake tables today. I'm going to shake tables today. The only thing I don't do, that we don't do here, when we are shaking tables, we don't insult our friends. We don't insult our brothers and sisters. We don't insult our fellow compatriots. That's what makes us different. That's what makes us responsible. A responsible platform. We can analyze, we give you analysis and tell you where we're going. The variables that we look at before, telling you where we stand on the issue. We give you those things. So Unity Party people, don't get me started. You are in no moral standing whatsoever. Mr. Cummings and the ANC folks, I'm telling you, you made a mistake to have aligned yourself with people who failed the Liberian people. Cummings said, and I quote, "We can't be doing the same thing over and over and expect to get different results." Mr. Cummings and the ANC, you are doing the same thing over and over, period. To align with Ure, to align with Bwaka. And the folks that let our people down. During their administration, they established a school at which children were being raped and infested with HIV and AIDS. Those individuals were not held accountable until a whistleblower had to come in and do something about it. Today, those people are walking around scot-free. You want to come here and tell me and lecture me about development? Did you use your money, your own money in the first place? If you look at the peanuts that you gave the Liberian people and what you amassed, it is shameful for you to come and lecture me about achievements. You didn't use your own money. So don't bring that moral argument to me. Don't bring that achievement debate. Don't bring it yet. It will not fly. We have not been around for so long, but we pay attention. That is the potential that we have. That is the potential that we bring to the debate about where we take this country. We understand the issues. We know how our people feel. We know what our people are going through. How you receive, for example, $100 for a dying patient and you spend $10, and some way, somehow, that person ate dry rice, and you want to show me the dry rice because there's a piece of fried fish on it. You want to tell me you did well. While you walk away with $90. And you want to come and claim integrity and morality here? Zero for you. You miss it. It will not fly for Anthony here. It will not fly here and focus on Liberia. Go and tell your ancestors about that. They will reject it. So, folks, the ANC got it wrong. And then the elections started in the so-called CPP. The first was Crab Togba. ANC did express interest at the time, but ANC did not get its way. ANC led that to slide. Another election came by in Kidmouth. ANC expressed interest, but another constituent political party in the CPP jumped in there. The ANC make a decision to get its candidate out. The candidate said, no, it's not happening. The candidate contested in any way. My research tells me that candidate came second. So imagine if the CPP had made a decision to go with the ANC candidate, apparently you have won. So it was a failure there. And the ANC kept making concessions, making sacrifices. And then there was this, framework. There was consensus, and there was dividing counties based on, parties within the arrangement. And the ANC could not get Bond County, in which its vice presidential candidate having to be a citizen. And so he had to resign from his own party painfully because he wanted to run anyway. Something that was selfish on his part, even though I would agree it was his right. Because as a member of that party, your leader had fixed his signature on it. So you should have lived by it. But again, he chose not to. And then fast forward, Nimba County. Fast forward, ANC got roasted by its own VPS. Lecture us about this VPS. What's VPS got to do with Liberian politics? I'm strong about this. For those of you who have unique understanding of what is called VPS, and how is this quote-unquote scientific tool that samples people's opinion to tell how people feel about a particular candidate, and you will use that as a yardstick to decide a candidate. So if you did use it, they tell you that Tai Womwe, what's his name? Tai Womwe was the favorite. Was that it? Was that the result? Was it either? What was the result? How did she get in the race anyway? And so Alexander Cummings put himself in this terrible situation. And so because there is no other better option out of the situation he put himself in, understandably, any decision that he will come up with will be bad. And I see the temptation. He believes so strongly that the only way the government can be defeated is with the CPP. There is so much truth to it, because if you look at the past election results, if this whole thing can stick together and they go to election, they can make it. But the danger is, how possibly can they make it work? They've been around it here for 2 years. So my recommendation on this is that if these people really believe, because what is the difference between collaboration and a single party? If you are collaborating, it means that you have agreement among you to be a unit. If you want to be a unit, be a unit. You can't want to be a unit and tell me my hair is different from my toe. Then you are not a unit. My body that makes me as astonished includes my head, my toe, and everything. There is no way I can say, oh, my hair is different from my toe. No. Has Cummings been paying attention? Does he have strategists in his party? Who are the people this man talking to? Who are the people the ANC talking to? Are they humbling themselves? Look at the example of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. She cleverly came to the political play. And what did she do? She bought the Unity Party. She didn't stop there. She knew consensus, collaboration, or one person would not win. So she brought the Liberian Action Party. Play with Barney Sherman. Made promises to vanish Sherman. That is the danger of politics. Ellen is a crafty politician. She did that. Vanish Sherman came on board, and Vanish Sherman brought his number. Bam! Dissolve those parties and form the Grand Unity Party. And so that was a perfect unit. That kind of unit work. That kind of unit works. Let me correct myself. That is a kind of political unit that works. That has been proven to work in Liberia. Besides that, none. The Clapton water scene during the Charles Taylor time couldn't hold. So Erin learned from that. And this is what she did. And she managed to serve as president of Liberia for 12 years. So, Mr. Cummings, if you want to be part of a unit to strengthen, let us not have 5, 6 different heads, because that head, the other head can go different way. And that's what's happening today. Liberty Party, look at it, they say who putting Kennedy in him. But someone told me in the CPP, trouble is not as big and huge and bad as people try to make it look like. And that the CPP, that was DeLong listening to him on OKFM this morning, that of the 15 counties, they are good in 14. The only place they have trouble is one county. And if we are looking at a percentage wise, that is good. That is good. But the saying that one apple can spoil all the other apples is true. And that is the case. And I told you about sacrifices. So let me show you something here. This is our man, the man, Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings, ANC logo, or Cummings' own logo, real change you can trust. So if Liberians want trust this change, if even you are making consensus or going to political marriages or marriage, you must make sure that those you are getting married to politically are not people who are complete embodiment of the whole other. People who entire being constitute what we call business as usual behavior in Liberia. Those people should not be in such. But as we know, that is the case with this marriage Mr. Cummings they jump into. So Mr. Cummings, in order to maintain, to keep this thing going, he has been making sacrifices. And these sacrifices have been harming him. So let me bring you something here from Taiwan. Let me bring you something from Taiwan here quickly, folks.
Buchanan to Maryland, from Maryland to Grand Juliet, we have serious issues. From Sanicoli all the way to Loguato, we have been around. CPP has disappointed me because the CPP doesn't understand that if you consider yourself that you are the future, you are the government waiting, you should behave differently. You should act differently. We'll come to that in a bit, but let me share with you something. Let's take a step back. Okay, we started this process with CPP. I've been involved, I was involved, and we supported Delon. We supported Telia, we supported Telia US dollar, we supported Cornelia Kura, and the rest of them. When we were doing those things, there was nobody there called Madam Edith Gongloware. But we built this thing, okay? Fast forward in February, there was a decision made that ANC would take NIMA. Also, ANC was giving up Bon County. Bon County, we were giving up Bon County. Bon, that our vice tenor bearer was in. I spoke about that. I said, this is going to cause a serious problem because we are sacrificing so much like we did in Cape Mount. We are sacrificing. We keep sacrificing people. And when we say votes, that human being, we need to be careful. ANC needs to be careful. Mr. Cummings, we need to be careful. We were sacrificing, making compromises. I spoke about it. It's on the record. I spoke about it. And it was largely ignored. And we made a decision to say, NIMBA. I said to Mr. Cummings, I said this in many EC meetings, and many people can attest to this. I said, we can do all we can, but we should stop sacrificing people. So we should focus on.
So folks, you heard it for yourself. So the latest sacrificial lamb that the ANC or Mr. Cummings had to sacrifice in the name of unity and keeping the CPP together, having to be his own. He sacrificed his political son for reason that he as head wants to keep the CPP together and that the CPP is the future. So the best thing to do is to sacrifice his own son, his political son, Taiwan. And Tai is not buying that. So how many persons with the ANC and sacrifice that will end up running independent anyway before they figured this thing out that there got to be a better way? How many persons? You heard Taiwan was saying that you're sacrificing people. You are sacrificing people. That is profound. That is painful. And that these people you are sacrificing, they have people. How much sacrifice can you make? How much of a sacrifice can you make? So talking about sacrifice, let me show you, let me carry you to the Bible a little bit. This is Father Abraham. Father Abraham was asked by God to sacrifice his son Isaac. When Abraham agreed to make that sacrifice, and while he was in the process of making that sacrifice, the sacrifice came from the all-powerful, the all-knowing, the most righteous God. So Abraham had reasons to make that sacrifice, as you can see there. But when Abraham was making that sacrifice, something happened. God saw Abraham's heart. And so God went and gave Abraham a lamb to sacrifice instead of his son. And so God asked Abraham to make a sacrifice. When Abraham decided to make that sacrifice, God gave something in place of the sacrifice that he had asked Abraham to make. So the question here is, what is the ANC and Mr. Cummings getting in return in the CPP or from the Liberian people for all these sacrifices that they continue to make politically? What are they getting? Or what they hope to get? It's obvious. It's obvious that Mr. Cummings, understand that Mr. Cummings did not start making these sacrifices when he became chairman of the CPP. The ANC and Cummings started making these kind of sacrifices way before he could become chairman of the CPP. So it makes no difference. He has been making these sacrifices all along. You made two sacrifices before this midterm elections. Didn't materialize that well. So what is the guarantee now? That you're going to sacrifice your political son, the one closest to you, the man who spent it all. And for whom did he sacrifice? His political son? Somebody, according to reports, owes the Liberian government money, took a loan, and has not been able to pay. Or to her credit, she did not deny that. But people are telling us, oh, politics, you got to go for the name. Whether it's a bad name or whether that name is tainted, it doesn't matter because the person has name recognition. And so you go with that. And so, unfortunately, the CPP got people on its ticket that Liberian people have zero reservation with. How is that different from the CDC they tried to crucify politically on the issue of credibility and morality? How is that different? They're accusing the CDC of using Mel and Alex Tyler, having him on a ticket, the man who earned that title, corruption kick on. And you have people on your ticket too who have records. How is that different? So the CPP, the ANC and Mr. Cummings, they need to get this right. Their marriage is not good for them. They can find a better marriage. They can go to where and recruit. They can build a political institution. If they do so, people will come to them. That is a free advice to them. And to the CPP, we will force them to make the collaboration to work. We will force them. So all these people that are getting angry, I suspend my membership, and this, that, you did not know what you were getting into? Did you not know? Did you think you were going to be bread and butter? We'll force you people to make it work. If you people don't make it work, it's your business. But if you are telling us that you are the alternative, that you are better than what we got now, you need to show it through your words. But the words that are coming from your mouths, the words are disgusting politically. We don't see maturity from some of you mouths. Small little thing, you live, you throwing out words and using your anger. You think your anger is going to convince some people for what? sit behind a little camera and made noise whole day and pull out your anger, and you think that will get you somewhere, you miss it. If you want to play this game, if you want to be part of this process, if you are sure, as you claim, that you are in this, when the good time comes, when the bad time comes, stand steady, find a way, and make it work. It may not be that too bad, but when you come out and denigrate yourself and you split yourself into pieces, then you make it a little worse than it may even be. All right, folks, the phone lines, I'm opening them right now. My name is Anthony C. I brought you the Hour of Politics here, focus on Liberia, and I have been discussing where the ANC got it all wrong. Get your calls coming right now. The phone lines are open for those of you who want to participate. Very quickly, I will start taking calls. This is Focus on Liberia. This is the Hour of Politics. We have been discussing where the ANC got it all wrong. We told you about what they could have been doing, or they should have been doing, or they failed to do, and what they can do going forward. And maybe that will even help to cement the CPP, because I feel that they're not being respected in the CPP. And the way they can gain their respect is to humble themselves and work harder, take their case to the Liberian people, sell their candidates, tell the Liberian people who their candidate is, let them use their message, and that's what they need to do. And people will start respecting them, and they will start commanding a lot of respect from these people who don't have anything to offer the Liberian people that they are just pandering with. Focus on Liberia. Our lines are open. I see that my first caller has just joined in here. Let me make sure that... Oh, that caller just left. That was Aliyu Kamara. Folks, you can get your calls coming in now quickly. Oh, I see the man, Keseli Double. Mr. Double, quickly to the issue.
Yes, thank you very much.
All participants are muted and they can unmute themselves.
Go ahead.
Yes, thanks very much for your analysis and thanks for bringing all your thoughts here. Liberian politics is kind of dangerous. It might seem to look easy, but it is not easy as people think it is. In Liberia, I don't think the people actually go for the money. Why it's true, sometimes it might seem that way, I don't think it's actually the money that people go for. I think the people want to know who you are.
Definitely.
And getting to know you, no matter how wealthy you can be, once the people get to know you, they do not care for what you give them.
Right.
Most times they come pretending like they want the money and they will take the money from you and you notice that they will end up voting against you.
Right.
We've seen it in the past. We saw it with Robert Saleh. We saw it with Vani Sherman, who is now a senator. And we've seen it with other politicians, you know. And I can see more of it coming. The ANC itself, I don't think the intention for them is bad. But one thing I've noticed is that the problem with ANC is that they are acting to be like they are too much perfect when it comes to the political system or the political arena. They are so perfect to the extent that they can make all the difference that no one else in Liberia can make. And I think this is where they are missing the mark. And Mr. Cummings now, who is on the ground, who is seeing how it is working, at first when he was strange to it, that was why he was accepting everything they were saying. But now that he's on the ground and seeing what is happening, I think he's trying to shift a little bit. He's trying to adjust to both of them, accepting his people who made him to go in the first place, and then trying to get to know the Liberian political arena. So based on that, his people now, who brought him to the light, think he's not listening to them. But I think they have been selfish and they have been just being wicked to him. That's what I think.
Okay.
Adjusting to the political system, it is not an easy thing. And for this man to have taken his time to go into the system and he's trying to see how he can build for himself that political ground, I think the best thing they should do is to keep supporting him, but giving him the best advice so that they can make things to go through. Get into the system, get to know how the system works deeper, and then you can be able to manipulate the system. But if you think just by leading from there and proclaiming and claiming to be Mr. Perfect or Mrs. Perfect and that your party is 100% completely different from all the other people on the ground, I think this is where they are missing the mark. And if the sooner they can change from that mentality, I think the better it will be for all of us. We are all Liberians. We've made some mistakes. And the mistake we made, we want people who have made some of those dangerous mistakes to be penalized, like we said it over and over, and we continue to say it. We are members of political parties, former political parties that are there in the system. They made some mistakes, and we saw this government coming to power who are able to punish some of them. Unfortunately for us, they did not.
Thank you.
So I just hope that the ANC supporters will continue to give Mr. Cummings the necessary support he desires. To make ANC to go forward. I'm not a member of the ANC. I'm not a Unity Party, like I said, and I'm continuing to say. Right. And I'm not going to leave the Unity Party because of mistakes that I'm telling you in the past. But I'm telling you, it's gone. Unity Party still exists. And there will be good people who will come out of the Unity Party who will make difference.
Thank you,
so we cannot say become an authentic and make a difference, so a difference will continue.
Yeah.
So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your contribution. Let me bring in Mr. Amos George here. Mr. George, quickly to the issue.
Yeah, man. You cut the table by yourself.
Already?
I said, Lola, you cut the table by yourself.
Yeah, I told you I came to shake table yet, but responsibly and with respect.
There are many things that are playing out within the CCP. And politics is numbers.
Yeah.
Politics is numbers. What I'm trying to figure out is that the three other political parties, they are trying to bully the ANC. Simply the fact that ANC doesn't have the numbers. They figure that ANC is a newcomer to the political scene of Liberia, and they are beyond the ground, so they should dictate. Those are the things that are playing out right now. And for me, if our enemies execute the ANC, for right now, there are only two options. You either take the risk or you sit down and shut your mouth. Because the ANC they are the one who always has always been giving in.
Yeah.
Kidmore, they gave it. Now, look at what I said. Bumpkin is the third largest public country in Liberia. You go and give it up. Then Nimba. And
Mr. Job, not interrupting. I will give you one more minute. You talk about Terry Ayure. Terry Ayure was handpicked by Benin Ayure when he was chairman. And he stood a ground until his daughter was on a ticket. Wasn't that shameful? The ANC could have kicked against it, but they say, okay, that let it happen. And now Ty one way, and they allow those guys to just come, even if Ty one way is not to win. The fact that ANC has a right to fee a candidate and that county was given to them, it should have been allowed. But for them to, Mr. Cummings to make a decision, that's why people in the ANC are not happy.
Yeah, they should have stood their ground.
Yeah.
Because they continue. And let me say this: answer you know it is that your friend man. If your friend man slap you and you don't do nothing, the next time you come here, you will slap you twice.
Definitely.
Because they have figured out that they have figured who can bully this guy, will bully him the first, the second time, the third time, who can do it. They will not do anything. And this is why now what is happening in the CPP. But I think the ANC need to sit down and re-examine herself. One, hey, either if we don't do it this way, then of course we will get out. And if that will cause an election, that will cause our election. And let's take on these guys. Let's go and do a groundwork and take on these guys. Look at who they're feeding in Bone County. They corrupt the speaker, Prince Moe. If that's someone to go put in Bone County, then you go look for to talk about Brahmin Samboka. Nima Kennedy, either going with who were in the same government.
I know.
And to come to say that these people are the best. I think the ANC should have stood our ground and said, no what happened. We're not going to go along with these people here because these people got too much calendar in the closet.
Thank you.
And not challenging to the ballot box. It was like, don't people give the country to them, they will do them. But this is what happens. When you don't do a good political calculation, this is what happened. And the ANC is caught up in a mess.
Yeah.
How they going to work it up? Only God won't know.
Thank you, Mr. Josh.
Only God won't know. But yeah, it's my take. Yeah. Let me just close on this thing here. Ansu, it's not late for the ANC to make a move. What I see going in Liberia, that the three political parties, all those people are corrupt. It's the same taking old wine and putting in a young bottle.
Right.
And then sat down. 16 billion was given to the woman. And she took 10% and gave it to Liberian people. And that's why they go around boasting. Honorable Bwaka received all the benefit 12 years. But he could not speak one evil that he could see to talk about the government. Then they say, oh, he's not corrupt. But anyway, let me just leave it for another time. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And this is the very united party, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who will not even support, her own VP. And the United Party people want to come here and can't talk about morals. They help us. They help Ellen help to give what we have today. And now she's the moral voice here. Thank you, Mr. George. Before I bring in Aliu here. Thank you, Mr. George. Hey, Mr. Kamara, I want to share something with you here. So be right there. Be right there. Folks, you are watching Focus on Liberia. Mr. Aliu Kamara is on the line. But Aliu, hold on. Let me share something with the audience here, and then I will bring you in. It will just be 1 minute. So, folks, as you can see, if you're looking on the screen right there, the ANC is trying to show strength in the U.S. Why am I showing this? According to the Minnesota International Institute, in other words, the International Institute of Minnesota, according to them, they said there are an estimated 250,000 Liberians living in the U.S. In my home state of Minnesota alone, we have about 35,000 Liberians that are living here. And the ANC, I'm bringing this up because the ANC continue to talk about, how strong they are in here. If this ANC can do a better job and try to see how best they can focus on Liberia, they will do more. While it's true that they're trying to, get a stronger base here, but the emphasis should be in Liberia. Yeah, because if they can get a huge number, and that huge number can affect a lot of people on the ground, and then these people will start respecting them. But if they continue to pander to them, I don't think it's going to work. Mr. Kamara, go for it.
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Sear, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to come here. But I got a question, though. You're talking about 10%. How did you derive that number? How did you derive 10% out of a whole government that operated for 12 years? How do you derive 10%?
So the Ellen administration, let me tell you, the Ellen administration received, people continue to say 16, but I think Ellen realized in cash about $10 billion. So
all
of
of
the $10
those
billion
all
that
of
were
those are
realized,
speculations.
about around $10 billion from the 16 billion dollar FDI that they negotiated. My research is that they received about 10 billion. So of the projects that they have in Liberia, if you do your check, technically you will realize that all the projects that there will be, it will be around, $2 billion.
That still doesn't tell me. That
Mhm.
still doesn't tell me
Mhm.
numerically
Yeah.
how you derive at the 10%. But let me not hold you because you're the host. In fact, you should be asking me questions. So
And I could be
let me
wrong,
not
but
hold you there.
that is my assessment, that is my analysis. So go ahead.
Yeah, that is unreal. It is unrealistic. My own brother and friend
And
said
I
out of
and I
12
accept your
years.
take, and I don't have authority in the area, so I can give in. Go ahead. No, I'm being honest.
Just stop throwing numbers out there.
Yeah.
You know. But you made very very fine analysis. The one you just made before I go into my actual point. They're talking about 250,000 Liberians and ANC. The question is how many of those 250,000 Liberians actually vote? How many of those 250,000 Liberians will go to Liberia? But this is ANC's problem. ANC problem starts from the top, Mr. Alexander Cummings. And I say this with all respect to Mr. Cummings because I do like him individually. Though I do not know for sure if he's capable of being president or being a proper leader. Mr. Alexander's problem is that he is a novice in a game called African politics. And then he goes in here and surrounds himself with novices. His political advisor is not a politician, he's a businessman. How can you be a novice and have a novice as a political advisor? His campaign chairman in the U.S. back in the day just passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the people they have as pundits, as surrogates. Look at the people they have as their political propagandists, their political communication machinery. Look at them. So he selects people that are at his level in terms of experience and political maturity. And this is going to cost Mr. Alexander Cummings. I think Mr. Alexander Cummings is just showing himself. He has shown himself if the Liberian people should make any mistake to vote for Mr. Alexander Cummings to become president. Mr. Alexander Cummings will be the other side of the coin of George Weah. It will be no different. There will be a lot of noises in the country because he already has surrounded himself with a group of young people, not necessarily young in age, but people who have no political experience. They do not understand the social and economic dynamics of the country. We all come to school and go to school here and write papers and think we can change the country, the system, just by memorizing or being indoctrinated to the system. And really, the natural reality doesn't apply to us in Liberia. It doesn't. You can look at our economic structure, which is the capitalist economy. Since the beginning of time, since the formation of capitalist economy in Africa, have they ever succeeded? No. How many of us, how many economists in America and in Europe would be able to go to Liberia and try to understand the dynamics of how Liberians or Africans live, how they understand, how they spend, how they commercialize in order to derive a new style. That's innovation.
Thank you. Aliyu, thank you. Your line is your line is so bad, so I have to let you go, but conclude.
Oh, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you get me much better now?
Yeah, just conclude. Just conclude.
Okay, in conclusion, though, I would like to make this clarification. In as much as a lot of us have, said that Madam State government was corrupt, which we believe, based on putting the little dots together. But George Weah have proven to us beyond all reasonable doubt that Madam Johnson was not corrupt. Even though he says that all the people who were accused of corruption under Madam government were freed by George Weah, and Madam Salih herself is heavily protected by George Weah. So by all indications, Madam Salih, as far as George Weah is concerned, But
All right, Alio, thank you. I mean, your quality contribution is being compromised by the bad connection. I mean, it will make no good sense for you to
all right, I
continue
will
when
choose my
people
location.
can't.
I will
Yeah,
choose my location and come back.
yeah, it's
I'll
so
choose my
bad,
location and come back.
and you know I don't usually do this to you, but I haven't said I'm not getting you clear, so the viewers are dropping because they
Okay,
don't.
I
Yeah,
will choose my connection and call you back.
yeah, please. Okay, thank you. All right, let me bring in the man Waiton Ketter. Mr. Waiton Ketter, who might be a little happy with me today. My friend here, my second guy alone. Oh, welcome to the show.
Thank you, my brother. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, Mr. Ketter. How the family? According to the issue.
I, 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 everybody great. I hope you can hear me really clear.
Yeah, you are clear. You are clear.
Okay. So you see, I like the analysis you gave. The last caller was trying to make, the same point that I'm going to make. You're going to go further.
Okay.
At first, ANC, right after the election, I thought ANC would have remain neutral and just continue pushing her weight, going from county to county, and preaching the good news about what Alexander Cummings can do, what the ANC could do, and as an alternative to Liberia. When ANC formed part of the collaboration, I gave on them, and I said it on my show. I said, just because Alexander Cummings joined those people, he has damaged his whole political career in Liberia for the time being until they can reassess and come back to the drawing board. Another thing, the people Alexander Cummings got behind him that pushed the PR for Alexander Cummings in the diaspora, they are the ones that are killing this party. They are the ones. A political party, I don't care how smart you are, the end of the day, you need numbers. You need people to rally around you to win a presidential election. You don't need people who will come and castigate other people that have different views. Those people that are doing Alexander Cummings PR should be the one to go and market him, be the one to even take the bullet for him and be able to convince the people that are getting that bullet to say, look, it is not what you see.
Just sell your candidate. You have a goal, sell your candidate. Forget about this for nothing fight. It doesn't take you anywhere.
Right.
Forget about this fight.
And I heard you calling one of my old brother. I heard you calling one of my old brother name that we lived in Connecticut together, Emery Nicole Benson. He one of those people that think politics is where you go and be macho man. Or somebody say, hey, you got to come out with BD and go all the way and start and fighting that person. That's the kind of thing. You don't do that. You are seeing Martin Faye. The same thing. You have to be able to convince the people. You sell your candidate out to the people. I don't care when the people come with an argument to tell you this is not that, and it's not going to tell and say, look, my brother, you have to know this man. You have to be able to walk with this man and see what the man can do. Sell the man in ways that even if Joey is messing up, we'll say, okay, maybe Alexander Cummings, the thing I heard about him, I can go in his direction. But when you sit down and talk to these people, the way they would denigrate you, the way they would say things about you, the first thing you start talking to any ANC people about the political situation in the country as regards to ANC, the first thing they would tell you, they didn't even know your education background. They would say you inept, you dumb, you're bud liquor, and they gave you all the names. After insulting you, you think you can even go back to the point and say that one then?
No, that's the thing.
You can't do that.
Thank you, Kevin.
And they are the ones that you're damaging our man. Let me tell you, in Liberia, the people rather don't care about, and it's not going to go from place to place. The politics here, the way we carry on ourselves, then we now send the message back to the media in Liberia and no bad exacerbated and make it look so bad.
Mr. Ketter, I'm gonna give you some orange juice here for you to drink. There's a statistics that I put on the screen very recently before you could call. It's from the Minnesota International Institute. And according to that institution, they said about 250,000 Liberians are in the United States. I want to challenge the ANC. because they claim to have something going for them here, even in the US. Can they boast of at least 10,000 members in the United States? Of the 250,000 Liberians here, can they boast of at least 10,000 in the United States? They cannot. I challenge them for me to show me the rest of
I
them.
doubt it.
They cannot show me
I
a
doubt it.
10,000 membership roster here in the United States. They can, of the
No.
250,000. So if they can't do it here in the US, that we know that they have, they feel that they got something going for them, that in Liberia they will do it. And I'm saying to them, go in Liberia
No.
and do it.
I doubt it. I doubt it. They can't. They don't have
250,000
that number
Liberians in
here.
the United States. Since 2017, the video that said everything about Mr. Cummings has been on Facebook, on YouTube for 3 years. That video is yet to reach 3,000 people or 3,000 views. But there are about 250,000 Liberians here. It shows that the people that support Cummings and the ANC people, they're not working. They're not working. They're just fighting everybody. They're wasting their time with that. They won't get there anywhere. This is free advice, and I hope they will take it kindly and not come after me. But I like when they come after me. And when they come in after me, let them shake my table good so I will know, you guys are shaking my table. Mr. Carroll, please conclude.
Let me give you my last one. Why they will come after you when you say in reality? And the only reason I think they will come after you because of arrogance. And let me be honest with you. Those guys think they are so sophisticated. So the rest of the people that don't agree with them, they are nothing. And you need those people to vote for you. As long as you come with your sophistication and you don't have the number, you're zero. Yeah. You understand? Yeah. We have people in the election in Liberia that got master, doctor degree. They were not popular in Liberia, Joe. We are with them. Yeah. You understand? Because the people voted for him. You need people. So when you come and you start insulting people that give you different of views, you think you will get people behind you, you will spend all the money. You will spend all the money. And at the end of the day, ANC will just go down the drain. Another thing I hold in ANC, and I keep saying it, the collaboration that the joint should get out of that collaboration, reassess themselves, and put people on the field that will be able to convince people. Either go down to grassroots political parties, small party there, get the idea. Don't be the one to say, I won't be at the top, and you'll grow your base up and come back in the election and fight. But if you will stay with UP and LP and what is in the ALP or I talk about Benin Liberia parties is zero because those three parties in Liberia, they got no substance. Thank you for having me, brother.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you so very much. The ANC have a lot of soul searching to do. If they want to,
Goodbye.
do something, they need to be able to work. They need to be able to work. I continue to emphasize and remind them. According to that statistics, about 250,000. That's 250,000 people, Liberians here in the United States. Can the ANC boast of at least 10,000 here in the US? No, the ANC can't. They have all the resources here in the US. They have phone, they can do everything to get the people to be part of them. They can't even boast of 10,000. They cannot. They cannot boast of that number. And I'm telling them, it's not to shame them per se, but I know what it means when you put effort in something you want to succeed. The last thing you want to do is put your time in something, and especially when you say it's intended for Liberia, then of course you should expect Liberians to give you their feedback. And that is the feedback you want to take kindly to, because at the end of the day, you will be able to claim, that credit will come to you. Yes, we did it. Yes, we did it. People like Samuel Twe today can sing, and they say we can make it. It took a lot of work. They didn't do much though, but they were there for some time. But to the ANC, you have to get to work, and this is just a free advice. After telling you, the way I see things, I'm not sure if I'm right on all the things that I said, but that is how I see it, and I can guarantee you, if only you can take kindly to these pieces of advice that Liberians around, are giving you. You need an honest feedback. You need that. You need to look yourself in the mirror, and in the political mirror will be the people, will be your critics. Just listen to them, even if you don't like it. take it and see whether it makes sense and try to use it for your own good. Take your message to the Liberian people. Free advice. Sell your candidate, recruit, recruit, recruit. Recruit here, recruit in Liberia. Stop attacking people. Don't fight people. You might need those people tomorrow. Those people can become your best ally. Recruit the best sons and daughters of all the counties and let them be your messenger. Sell your candidate. For a 2017 video that contained the 60 things that made Elizana Cummings, for that video to be less than 3,000 views for 3 years now. That is the thing that the ANC people got all about Elizana Cummings in that video. You have all the tools to your disposal to go to work and recruit and make your party strong. And when people see your work, they see the people you bring in and you're recruiting, your party is becoming strong, they will come around. You don't need the political rascals around here who the Liberian people have problem with anyway. Take your message to the people. Well, I have to leave it there. Yeah, I focus on Liberia. We educate, we elevate and promote all things Liberia. My name is Anthony Sie. As always, I brought you the Hour of Politics. We want to say thank you so very much for watching. We will now come to the end of the broadcast. I've said enough, so I will not do my usual closing. But let me leave you with this. The song is called We Are All Liberians. Whether you disagree with me, whether you feel that I said some things wrong, just as anybody would do, maybe because they didn't have or get the right information, or maybe they didn't have authority on that piece of information. Whether you disagree with me, take the one that you agree with. Take the one that makes sense. If you think you're doing this for Liberia, you should expect all Liberians to talk. Some people will come out harshly. It's your choice to fire back. But what does that give you? It only satisfies your own anger. And that anger will rob you of your best mindset, of your best, and then you will not be able to react appropriately. Thank you. Enjoy your song. Bye-bye.
We are Liberian. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Even you may say all we want. Liberia, oh. Even you may say all we want. Liberia, Liberia. Oh,